Welcome back. I am going to show you my craft room at the new house. It's definitely not finished, but I think it's ready to show. Okay, so as I said, it's not done. I still have some things to label, maybe a few miscellaneous things to organize, but I figure if I wait till it's completely done, I'll never do it. So if you are new to my channel, thank you, first of all. We just moved about 2 weeks ago, and I have 2 rooms in the house. This one across the hall, which we'll go to in a minute, and this one, which I'm calling my studio, I guess. So let's show you around. So when you walk in, you can see I reconfigured my IKEA furniture to make more of an island, so I would have a larger workspace. And then I have this cabinet that used to be in my kitchen, the other house. I didn't get any new furniture. I just reconfigured it and used things that were in other rooms of the previous house. So this is kind of an overview, and I'm going to kind of show you how I've organized everything. So go ahead and close the door here. On the back of the door, I have this shoe organizer, I think it is. And I've put, actually these are all Martha Stewart, I guess. So decorative and border punches is kind of what I was going for. I guess this one can go down here. If they have a match, I tried to keep them together, but as you can see, it's not completely, organized, but it's good. I do have some of my Barbie collection up there. Behind the door here, I have this little metal pegboard. This was from Home Depot, I believe. I did have it in the previous house. But here I have my glue guns and heat tools, some jewelry tools, paper towels. These are magnetic. I think they're from IKEA, although I thrifted them. I think they might be for spices. I'm honestly really not sure, but they work great on here. And I just have some little embellishments in there. And then I have more jewelry tools and then things for my wax seals, which I use this glue gun for. So that is what is behind the door. Now here I have some more Barbies. I have ink that is like oxides or distress. I picked up that ink storage at a scrapbook garage sale. I have some things here that I'm working on. I actually am going to be filming a tutorial on this altered file folder journal. So that's kind of just sitting here for now. And I don't even know if I have anything in these drawers. I don't think I do, but they're there, ready. That box up there I think is empty. And then that is a little like Rolodex, but I have Anna Griffin's sentiments, I believe is what's in there. Here are my die storage drawers I've showed you in the past. They're from Stampin' Storage. And these are housing my larger dies, mostly like nesting frames and things like that. Things that I did have on the wall at my other house. I'm not doing any wall storage here. I haven't completely labeled these, but they are mostly organized with like my nesting dies and things like that. This little unit is also from Stampin' Storage. I have some more like mixed media stuff in here. This one I have, well, there's some hanging things, but I have some different like craft foil, these cool stained glass things. This one, I have extra cords and tape refills and staples, things like that. And then this one is a bunch of sprays. So that's what's in there. And then down here, this was also in my previous house, but we had like our internet stuff in it, like our modem, some of my husband's things, maybe not the modem, but it was basically my husband's things, but now I am using it in my craft room for my stuff. So I have these alcohol inks I just got on Whatnot actually, and I need to put them into my alcohol ink storage. But so this is my alcohol inks, my spritzes, my watercolors, and my distress crayons. And then in this cabinet, I've got washi tape, tape runners. This box is empty, but I can use it to store something at some point. Like I said, it's still a work in progress. And then down here, this little thing I thrifted, and I have glitter and like confetti, things for shaker cards in this. And then I have my CDs sitting on top of there. And then in here, I have my scrapbook.com trays. These are actually puzzle sorting trays, but they work great for the same kind of concept as these. If you're doing die cutting or working on a project, you can keep your ephemera sorted while you're working. And then in here I have rubber bands for my mixed media. This goes to my mini fridge that I'll show you in a minute. And okay, now this is that little cart I had been using for projects. In here I've decided to I have some wipes up here. These are just empty things. But this has like my computer cord. It has my things for when I'm selling on Whatnot. So I've got my roller printer and my scale and that kind of thing down there. Okay, so then again, here's the door. Now, if we come over here, I have this, my husband put back up, and this is my little shelf that I thrifted, and I have all my mixed media pastes and things in there. And then all my sprays on this, which I think is for nail polish, probably. This is a little, I'm pretty sure it's Tim Holtz, little storage box that I found on Marketplace. It has a bunch of, well, I guess I can show you. It has, I got it full of different embellishments. They weren't all ideology, but most of them were, and I did kind of reorganize it. So I have just different little things. The bottom is all gears, so that's pretty fun, and keys and little things like that. So that's what that is. And this little mini fridge, I actually just got at Hobby Lobby on clearance, and I have my Coke Zero in there, so that's kind of cool. And then this is that dresser that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby a few months ago, and I did reorganize it a bit, so I'll go ahead and show you. I have my memory glass here. It's a very old ideology. Actually, I don't know if it's Ranger, actually, product. Now, like I said, the only thing with this is that these drawers are on tracks, so sometimes they don't slide in exactly right. But this drawer is all like chipboard and like this is a wooden tag and just those kinds of embellishments that you'd paint and things like that. This is another older line, vintage, I think it is. But any kinds of like metal that I can stamp on or emboss, that kind of thing, that's in there. This is a bunch of baby stuff for like baby albums. This is a whole bunch of pens, all different kinds. I need to organize this. That's a long story about the pens. These are stamps that I actually got in that, I think it was Journal Say. I really like these, and I have them in here because they're nice to quickly make ephemera with. And then these I'm going to be using in a future project, so I just put them in there. And then this is like the jump rings and clips and all that kind of stuff all together. I have book plates and metal letters. And then down here I labeled it miscellaneous embellishments, just things I didn't really know what to do with, but they're all embellishments, so they are in there. Over here I have flowers, but these are more like metal flowers. I have my magnet stash. I buy them in bulk because I use so many. This is different kinds of hardware for like journal class, like things to put on the spine, things like that. Here I have a bunch of frames. I like to use frames on covers. Of course, my bird drawer, various birds. This is different kinds of embellishments that have words on them. And then this one is shaker card domes. Different kinds of metal embellishments. Oh, I think these are super cool. Love these. And then these labels need to get taped down, apparently. I have different kinds of cabochons, and then different things I would put in shaker cards. So that is what this dresser is, and I really do like it because it's great for organizing a lot of small items that you would have in your craft room. This cabinet is repurposed from my kitchen. Well, actually more like my dining room at the previous house. I actually got this at a Goodwill for $20, probably, oh gosh, like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Painted it white. And then before I moved in here, I actually put this wallpaper in the back of it with the birds on it. But this cabinet I really love. So up here I have my jewelry stand. I need to hang this photo, and then some albums that I'm working on. These are more albums that I'm working on. And then I'm using it to store various, like this is ribbon and some like fabric kind of embellishments. I have ribbon down here. This is a snippet roll I made. I have those in there. I just think it looks really pretty. I use this jewelry display thing to put old handkerchiefs that I like to use on my journal covers. I have some old sewing machine drawers with ribbon in them. This is a lid to a piano, what is that, player piano music roll. And I have washi tape and tickets and things like that in those. And then this little box has, I can open it one-handed, a bunch of like flowers, fabric flowers. And then I have this cute little box here that I have different kinds of twines. And these buttons were actually my grandmother's. She would save all the buttons off of, there's a piece of pasta in there. That's interesting. Never noticed that. Okay, well, anyways, she saved all these buttons, so that's in here. Okay, so that is what I have in the cabinet. And then in the bottom down here, I have paintbrushes. Behind here are some books I'm gonna alter and some picture frames. This little box I also thrifted, and in here I have like fabric scraps. I have my stapler thingamabob and staples, a little book press. This is like screws and hollow wall fasteners and stuff like that. So that's what is down here. And then this little desk I also thrifted. That is definitely a trend with me. I have my typewriter on here. I am doing something with those birds. These are some books I started to alter. They're kind of a work in progress, but there we go. I have my glass paperweights. I have these little spice jars with various little things in them. And then this is where I'm keeping my inks. Eventually I'll have all 72 colors of ink and oxide. I have more beads down here, my cinch, my pamphlet stapler, my thermal cinch. I don't think there's anything in this. Yeah, it's just extra storage things. So that is what I have stored right here. And then up here, I have my shelf again that was from Hobby Lobby with the jars, and there's various embellishments. I have buttons in there, my Anne of Green Gables doll, and a jar of Scrabble tiles. Also around the ceiling here, I have my Tim Holtz signage that I got from Joann's. I have this cute little hook I thrifted with my, I think this is what, 49 Market? Yeah, tote bag. This tote bag that I got at a craft show, my Timmy apron, and my tote bag that my daughter made me. I have a few little things I've made up here on the shelf, and that is that. Now this picture frame I also thrifted. Haven't put anything in it yet, but I just thought it was a really cool frame. There's Reagan. And then, so as you can see, I did make an island here. I hung my mobile up here with my tags and cards from people. Here is my lamp. Now the only thing about having an island is that I do have to, you know, plug it in and have the cord hanging. So I just kind of leave it here if I'm not using it. This is actually a mug stand I had in my kitchen, but here I'm using it for my brayers. I did pick up the Tim Holtz glass mat at Joann's on clearance. And then down here, I have another set of drawers and then these plastic things. I ended up getting, when I bought a lot on Marketplace of scrapbook stuff, they were in those containers. So this is pens. Again, there is a story behind all the pens, and maybe I'll tell you guys that sometime, maybe during a craft with me. But these drawers, I have all the other kinds of punches. So tab punches and corner rounders and all that kind of stuff. Lots of punches. And then a few more. And then down here, this is kind of odds and ends. Things that I will probably, these are little music boxes, some binder clips. This is actually like a vintage lipstick holder. And I just thought it was so cool, and I'm going to figure out something fun to do with that. Okay, so in these, I think they might be meant for shoes. I'm not really sure. But in this first one, I have a mixed media mat. I have a little paintbrush thing. And then I have a lot of my Xyron stuff in these. I do have, let's see, paper clips, clothespins. These I think are to wrap like yarn and things around. Foil and wax paper, always useful in the craft room. Xyron refills. This is like my big heavy duty heat gun for like wood burning. Safety glasses, and then Xyrons and refills. So that's basically what those are. Okay, and then as on my desk, I already showed you this. I have my little stamp thing. I have my pin cushion, glue, some tools in here, my tape. This is my laptop stand to put my computer on. My lamp, my phone stand, and then this lamp I actually just thrifted for $15. It's very nice when I need extra light, and then it also has a magnification thing, so this is really cool. I love this. I just got it. Another one of those ink storage things. So this stuff was on my previous desk too, so that hasn't really changed. And then when you come over here along this wall, I have my sublimation oven. I have my plates for my Big Shot. This is like heat tape, heat safe tape. This is some Cricut items. More Cricut type items. And I'm still haven't labeled these drawers yet, but these are various cutting plates. More Cricut stuff. These are all Cricut pens, magnet sheets, and laminating pouches. This is my butcher's paper thing for when I do sublimation, and this is going to get hung up on my wall, but just hasn't done so yet, but it will go above the heat press. This is an empty box. I thought it was cute. I'll probably use it for something. On this cute little transfer I picked up. And then I have my heat press, and then Cricut mats, Brother mat, vinyl. This is like thin wood you can cut with your Cricut. Xyrons, vinyl. These boxes are actually from my Whatnot show on Friday, and I'm going to be packing those up to ship them. And now I kind of made myself like a little workspace here. So when these boxes aren't here, I can roll my chair over if I need to. But I have my big paper trimmer, my Big Shot, place to cut fabric, my sewing machine, and my embroidery machine that I got at a yard sale. I have up here some thread. There's nothing in there yet. My printer's tray, which I have a few printer's blocks along with my wax seal things. Up here I have embossing powders. The steampunk frog was from my friend Trish. I have another little thread holder here with some thread and some twine. And then I have some really tall paintbrushes in here. I have my Cricut and my Brother Scan and Cut. And then if you come down here, again, this is stuff to ship. I have my sewing box. I have some pictures that I'm going to be doing something with, a project. There's some cutting mats up here and like stamping foam. Over here I have some cinch wires. More in here. This is my photo printer. If I can, and then in there, okay. I have stuff for my thermal cinch. This is bookbinding stuff, and this bottom drawer, which is broken, is cords. So that is my little work counter here. And then that brings me over to the closet, which obviously you can see I've got my vinyl here. Some more things for recording. My tool bag. This bin down here is all sheet music that a friend gave to me, and I'm probably going to be maybe coffee dyeing it or something. I'm not really sure. I picked up that cool hot air balloon. I think that was in a video. I'm going to do something with that. Not sure yet. And then I have a bunch of wood things for projects and more in here. This is a tablecloth I use when I'm tea dyeing. Stabilizer for embroidery. This is one of those rugs I've been taking apart. And then up here is like a bunch of glue for refills, my splatter box, something I might hang on the wall. These bins are empty. They're things I used in the other house, and not so much here. And then I have my travel craft bag, my Cricut bag, and my sewing machine bag. And then, let's see, over here I have like adhesive ribbon and borders and things like that. And then this, which I also picked up on Marketplace, is for paper, but I'm actually using it to organize like hunky-dory kits, card topper kits. I still need to label these, but I have them organized by theme. And that's kind of what the top half is. But when you get down here, I have my stickers in here. So I have flowers. These I have labeled. Letters, birds and butterflies, and so on. Until you get down to here, the bottom three are tags. And so that is what I have in there. And then the last cabinet, which, like I said, was in my kitchen. This one is probably my favorite. So on the top, I've got some paintbrushes. I have some books, a cute little sign, the birdhouse that I made. I have my fabric here. I have my Tim Holtz dies. I have my stickles, scissors, markers. I have my Tim Holtz stencils. And then in this drawer, which this is very old and not the easiest sometimes, but I have tools like my crocodile, punches, my label maker, things like that. And then in the cabinet down here, which is nice because I sit right here so I can turn around and grab these things easily. I have stamping platforms, scoreboard, my paper trimmers, rulers, different trays and things like that. And on this side, I have my other Biggs dies and all my punch boards. So that is basically everything in my studio. Now, I have taken 2 rooms in this house, and I'm very, very pleased that that was an option. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the other room, which I'm calling the paper pantry. So right across the hall is this other bedroom. And this is kind of where I store most of my supplies. My husband hung my stamp shelf back up, so I put my wooden stamps back up. And then I have my Barbies. I have several paper storage racks. You can see they're kind of all different. I've just thrifted them here and there. Some from Goodwill, some from Marketplace, but kind of have like 8x8 and I don't know, what is that? Whatever that is, size paper pads on there. Most of my solid 12x12, and then pattern paper, my Timmy paper, different ones like that. These are the papers that I use when I make like interactive mini albums. More paper. This has book pages. So when I take book pages apart, I don't keep all of them because that would just be too much. So I just keep what I can fit in here, which is very full. All right, so then along this back wall, I have my IKEA cubes. Up here at the very top is like ink refills and some blank cups and some things that I just don't use often. That is like Christmas stuff, laminator. That tin has ink refills in it. File folders. I have faux leather. Books for junk journaling or collaging. And then this is mostly like canvases. This is like folio bases and file folders, things like that. I have some empty binders, things to store things in. My photo paper, more boxes, a lot of like Timmy foundation pieces that you can make fun things with. I have stuff for junk journaling in here. This is all like notepads. Anna Griffin, that's basically empty. Let's see, I think that basket up there is Cricut blanks. This is actually Christmas and gift wrapping bags. This is a stamp set. I have stencils in these, and then mounting foam for stamps. Is there any? I don't think there's any. Nope, empty. These are all rub-on transfers. This is player piano. Well, that one's not, but player piano rolls, and then various kinds of paper, like mixed media paper. There's rice paper, tracing paper, all fun things for making signatures and journals. A box I can alter. Some things I'm gonna use to decorate with. This is paint and stain and stuff like that. I have my Tim Holtz binders down here, my Anna Griffin binder, a couple kits. These are paints. This is envelopes and card bases, grunge board. Now, the way I'm storing my stamps and dies is in these hanging file folders, and they're all organized in categories that make sense to me, and for the most part alphabetized. So I have these right here with stamps and dies in. We'll see how that works. I have a few card bases up here, golden books, some more Barbies. Now in the middle here, so to give you a reference, there's the door. This little cabinet, I think was in like our family room at the other house, but I have shipping supplies inside of there and then my printers. So when you walk in, I kind of have like a center aisle. So this shelf is empty. This box has ephemera in it, like real ephemera. This is a thrifted thing that I've been spray painting. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm using it to store my Tim Holtz dies, and they're kind of organized by category. The bottom is chipboard, and then I have small embellishments organized in these things, in these smaller containers. I have my Tim Holtz wall like I had at the other house, but this time I can easily access both sides, which is awesome. And then this little container I actually got for free on Marketplace. And it's cool because it's very deep. So this paper is like my 12 by 24 paper. And then I have Tim Holtz paper and like alcohol ink, Yupo and stuff like that in there. And then if you go on the other side, I have my Cricut cart. I have more Timmy. I have the We Are Memory Keepers thing with like book corners in it. This drawer is mostly watercolor stuff. This is the cord from and my plates for my Empress. Mink stuff. This is different Anna Griffin ephemera. These are embossing folders. This is a little desk I can use if I go into craft, like in the living room, in front of the TV, that kind of thing. These I just need to put away. They're embossing folders. And then this is empty. I thrifted it. I feel like it could be used for some kind of storage in here. And then I have more Tim Holtz like ephemera packs in these, and then other various ephemera packs down here. So that is working out really well. I do have this for when I tea dye or coffee dye. This closet kind of looks like a hot mess, but it's kind of organized chaos. This is basically where I'm keeping things that I'm going to be selling on Whatnot. These boxes have things that I've picked up to sell, and baskets up here of things that I'm giving to friends. I have like storage containers that I'm not using right now. So it is mostly organized, but it looks a little chaotic. So, but the door closes, right? And that's all that matters. This is a really cool table, also thrifted. I think I paid 20 bucks for it, but it is a craft table. It's a drop leaf table. There's one on the other side, but you can pull this out. And if you're working on a big project, you got a lot of workspace. I have my Empress in here. There's an outlet right there, which is why the cord and the plates were there. So if I want to die cut in this room, it's all set up for that. Then we have this section here. So we have more paper here. Yes, I have a lot of paper. This is some shirts that I'm making for my niece. That's hanging there so don't forget. I have vinyl in these two bins. And then this has like a UV light, a mask, just like steel wool, things like that. These are like really big embossing folders that don't fit in those binders. And then like tall sticker packs. This I think is hooks. Yeah, hooks for my pegboards. And then I have my paper collection still organized like I had before with the name. So if I have a collection, typically something that I have more than one thing for and I want to keep it together, that's when I put them in these things. I do have like open embellishments in there from Christmas stuff. These baskets have smaller pads of paper, like 6x6. This is all like really small, like scrap paper and stuff. More 6x6 pads. This is a lot of like handmade paper or just random. Got some tea-dyed paper, some bunch of paper I embossed. 8.5 by 11. I have a few kits. This is like Anna Griffin paper, some dies. And here I have collage paper. I have acetate in here. These are scraps. I have some canvases in here. And then these are all like as labeled the same as they had them at the previous house. Glitter, shimmer, metallic, embossed, craft, white, etc. Handmade paper down here. And up here I have flowers, Prima flowers mostly. And I think that's it. So that is how I have things stored. This cabinet is empty. Still have room to grow if I need to. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tour. And thanks again for watching. And if you haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you did. And I'll see you in the next video, which I think is going to be my tutorial of the altered file folder journal. So I hope you guys will enjoy that. Bye.